Titanfall was a game that was supposed to set the first-person shooter genre on fire. It was heralded as EA's Call of Duty killer, and was one of the most hyped up new IPs in quite a while. For numerous reasons, Titanfall did not live up to its lofty expectations. But hey, that's what sequels are for, right? We just got our first look at Titanfall 2 at EA's E3 press conference, and based off of that, here are 10 things you need to know about Titanfall 2. Number 10. There's a single-player mode. One of the biggest issues with Titanfall was that it was a full-price $60 game for what felt like an incomplete package at launch. And one of the biggest causes of that incompleteness was a lack of a single-player campaign. Titanfall 2 is changing all of that. Respawn released a single-player trailer that features all sorts of stuff that we never saw in the original Titanfall, like hostile alien life forms, small drone-like enemies, and a narrative that seems to hinge on the relationship between Pilot and the Titan itself.
Protect the pilot.
And of course, there's also tons of stuff that is familiar to fans of Titanfall, like robots beating up other robots, slick wall-running maneuvers, and Titans, well, falling. Other than that, as far as story details go, we know that the protagonist's name is Jack Cooper. He's a rifleman that somehow becomes the new pilot of BT-7274, the Titan who narrates the single-player trailer. It seems like BT's pilot died, and now Jack must take on his mission, which puts him behind enemy lines in IMC territory. As mentioned before, one of the goals of the campaign in Titanfall 2 is to create a bond between Pilot and Titan. So Titans aren't going to be considered disposable tools in the single-player campaign. There will be one Pilot and one Titan. BT itself is a Vanguard class Titan, a new type of Titan which producer Drew McCoy described as being most closely comparable to the Atlas Titan from the original, though for the campaign it will be more powerful. The campaign is also being described as quote-unquote meaty, and not just a bunch of multiplayer training missions with bots. Time will tell just what meaty actually means and how many hours of gameplay that will translate to, but for what it's worth, it definitely seems like Respawn is not treating single-player as an afterthought this time around. Also, is it just me or does BT sound a lot like Dr. Samuel Hayden from Doom?
Our interest in their world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Correct. My original pilot was KIA.
Who himself sounds a lot like Optimus Prime, so I guess it works. Number 9, there are a total of 6 new Titans in multiplayer, and we actually catch glimpses of them throughout the multiplayer trailer. One of them is an Ion Titan, and is considered to be a descendant of the Atlas Titan. Ion is armed with lasers and a particle accelerator, and oh my god, it's my favorite! Look at this! Another is called Scorch, and with its huge frame is a descendant of the Ogre Titan from the original. Scorch has a flamethrower because, obviously, its name is Scorch, a mortar that can fire incendiary rounds, and can throw gas canisters that can be ignited by his flamethrower. These 2 Titans will be playable at E3 and we'll no doubt learn more about the rest of them in the coming months. All of the Titans will also have their own unique voices and personalities. And number 8, we now have grappling hooks! Yes, there are now grappling hooks in Titanfall 2, which makes all the sense in the world because it's a game fundamentally based around movement. And what more fun way is there to move around the world than grappling hooks? Pilots can choose to load out with a hook, and it will allow them to attach to just about any object in the world. Structures, Titans, and other pilots. This is probably the thing that I'm personally most excited about. Using Titans were cool, but honestly my favorite aspect of Titanfall was the fluidity of motion and how agile you could feel while navigating around the battlefield. The addition of grappling hooks along with the already existing movement abilities means there will be no area in a map that Pilot can't reach with ease and speed. And number 7, Smart Pistol may not be in. One of the most controversial weapons in the original Titanfall was the Smart Pistol. It allowed players to get insta-kill headshots without the need of any sort of aiming skill. It was like McCree's ultimate in Overwatch, but as an actual weapon. Lots of people hated the thing. The good news is that at the very least, the multiplayer trailer didn't put a spotlight on it, which may mean that it's not making a comeback in Titanfall 2. That being said, there is this moment right here, and that could just be a regular sidearm. It's kind of hard to tell. It could happen where the Smart Pistol is confirmed shortly after this video goes live, but as for right now, it could seem like the scourge of the Smart Pistol is no more. Number 6, Pilot Gear. The multiplayer trailer showed off a variety of new toys for pilots to mess around with, including the shuriken that causes a gravity distortion and will pull enemies towards its impact point, and then there's a spike that will pulse outwards and show nearby enemies through walls. We've got some remote detonated C4, a hologram diversion ability, and it looks like Stim is back as well. If you look at the HUD, it seems like there are 2 slots. The right bumper is meant for grenade-type ordnances, and the left bumper is reserved for more utility-based tactical abilities like the grapple hook, the sonar spike, etc. In other words, it's basically the same kind of deal as Titanfall 1. Number 5, there are modes without AI. One of the biggest things that set Titanfall apart from other multiplayer-focused first-person shooters, for better or for worse, was the fact that in addition to fighting against human players, there were also a multitude of AI-controlled bots that essentially served as fodder and free points. The problem was that there weren't any modes that just featured human players, so you had to deal with these brain-dead AI even if all you wanted to do was focus on the intense PvP action. Titanfall 2 is going to change that, with certain modes that don't include the AI cannon fodder. And you know what? Even though I kind of like the addition of AI bots because it allowed you to feel like you could contribute to the team even though you're having a bad game, it's a great thing that there's now the option to not have to deal with that. It was something that people complained about and Respawn addressed it, so good on you. Number 4, it's claimed to run at 60 frames per second on consoles. In an interview with Polygon, aforementioned Titanfall producer Drew McCoy confirmed that Titanfall 2 would run at 60 frames per second on consoles, and that for PC people, the game would top out at 144 Hz. Now, to be fair, Titanfall 1 claimed to be 60 frames per second on Xbox One when it first released, but the truth was that it not only struggled to maintain that frame rate, but it also struggled with that frame rate while being locked at the oddball resolution of 792p. It wasn't until a later patch where the frame rate was stabilized. So I don't know, I'm gonna keep a skeptical eye open on this one. Number 3, that's right, I said consoles because Titanfall 2 will be on the PlayStation 4 at launch. This is a big deal because Titanfall was one of Microsoft's big exclusives during the launch window of the Xbox One. The big question is whether or not the game will feature crossplay between the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Number 2, there are 3 editions up for pre-order. If you're one for deluxe and/or collector's editions, Amazon is ready for your business. 3 editions of Titanfall 2 have popped up on Amazon ready for pre-order. The standard edition comes with just the game and costs $60, while the deluxe edition costs $80 and contains specially themed war paints and what are known as nose arts, along with 2 camouflages that will be ready to be applied to every Titan, pilot, and weapon in the game. Finally, there's a collector's edition that includes an 8GB USB flash drive in the shape of a dog tag, a field journal, patches and a scarf, and most substantially, a Vanguard pilot helmet replica. All that for, oh god, I can't even say it, $250! Holy crap, that's a lot of money. I mean, I think I'm gonna pass, but hey, whatever floats your boat. And finally, number 1, there's a new mode that is described as an evolution of attrition in Titanfall 2, and it's called Bounty Hunt. On the outside, it kinda seems reminiscent of Halo 5's Warzone mode, where you have 2 teams each vying to reach a score limit by killing enemies, but then you also have specific zones where neutral AI enemies will drop in, and those enemies will also give a substantial amount of points. We're talking boss titans. Of course, we also have the aforementioned mode that eliminates AI bots from the match, and it would be surprising if prior modes like Hardpoint, Last Titan Standing, and Capture the Flag didn't make a return as well. But we'll have to see in the coming months as more information becomes available for Titanfall 2. In the meantime, there is a planned technical test that people can sign up to be notified about once it gets closer to the date of the actual test, and that's a good thing because Titanfall's launch was a disaster, and anything they can do to avoid another mess like that is a good thing. And there you have it, 10 things to know about Titanfall 2. Personally, I'm actually more excited than I thought I'd be after seeing those 2 trailers. There was really a solid core at the foundation of the original game, and from the looks of it, Respawn is making all the right decisions in what to address and what to keep the same in the sequel. But we want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments, and hey, if you enjoyed this video, why not consider dropping us a like and maybe even hitting that subscribe button for more E3 coverage and much more. I've been your friendly neighborhood Spidey. You can find me at Jurassic Rabbit on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.